Well, now, spirit has purpose, and you are spirit. And, of course, the ideal is good purpose, and we define that to be, really, purpose that's in harmony with God and all heaven. And if you have that purpose, then, well, your whole being is rescued into the goodness and harmony of heaven. If you have not got that purpose, for instance, no purpose, or very little, so we say, or very strong purpose, but contrary to the purpose of God, in other words, a purpose that's very inharmonious and full of conflict, even perhaps with itself, a sort of self-contradiction, then this is very non-optimal outcome for the spirit. And it needs training, maturing to the loveliness of God's purpose, that you be a happy, contented spirit, desiring those things that can be fulfilled and, well, basically bring peace and joy and hope and life eternal, all goodness, all blessing, as opposed to strife and war and turmoil and discord and etc. So there's the third stage, which is neither in neither direction, which is no purpose, which is no creativity at all, which probably is a bit like a living depression. It's not, or not life at all, just blankness, non-existence, perhaps, at least as regards purpose, of course, by definition, not life. Let me pause a sec. I'm inclined to describe it as a gravity towards non-existence. And I suspect that is the danger, at least, of some forms of belief. I'm thinking in this respect of the Buddhist understanding of there's no self, and well, the epitome of some people's view of meditation, which is, I'm going to clear the mind. I'm believing that there is no self, that this reality is all of no regard at all. I'm completely neutral. I'm not suffering from joy or sorrow. I'm blank. Perhaps it's not helpful to try and describe the no state or the wrong state. But if we think for a moment what we're supposed to do in traditional sort of biblical type of teaching, we're to praise God praising God means to, in some sense, review in our awareness the goodness of God. And we would list it by the usual familiar list of He's loving and kind and all-powerful and, absolutely benevolent and incredibly creative and master of all and an absolutely wonderful person of miracles and care and kindness and empathy and understanding and grace and forgiveness and, guides your every step, walks beside you, is the friend of the friend of the friend. Your wonderful dad, your divine mother, your dearest friend, ever companion, the person you can ever turn to, always, always attentive in his consciousness to loving and caring for all of his creation. I mean, you have your own praise approach to God, and it develops through time. If you're thankful, being thankful motivates you to hold a good view of God. Well, that is life. The creator of all, the reason for everything that is and everything that isn't. All goodness, all loving kindness. So, if you are, you've just described his spirit, you see, in terms of its purpose, its drive. Is it the French phrase, raison d'être? That's probably not a good pronunciation, but I think you know what I mean. You're the reason for all things in some sense. Wonderful one. Beauty and loveliness, harmony, help, rescue, goodness. The list is very long, and you can certainly provide it yourself, because you are spirit too, and you have an idea of what good spirit is, good character, and its intention, isn't it? You see, the divine translated state is not emptiness, is not blankness. On the contrary, it's this verdant, lush environment and place of all good living, good intention, fullness of life. Do you see you're alive, full of the glory of the potential of the most beautiful morning on earth that you've ever seen, and in fact far greater. It's the eternal morning of heaven. All goodness, all loveliness, wonderful intention, and we visualize, don't we? Well, I think it's good to visualize, populated by wonderful persons who are just angels of goodness and light, who love all, especially, of course, and I don't know how to put it, but love God, utterly devoted to the goodness and the fullness of God. Do you see, you are spirit, and you are wonderful spirit, growing to become part of this host of heaven, this wonderful personage, I think is the word I've got in my mind, a person of persons, just like our dad. Now, I've been spending a day or two talking to a lady who is much concerned that the father image of God is not something that resonates comfortably and happily with her. She would rather it was, if you like, Divine Mother, but she doesn't want religion. She wants a reality of well, her view of what a wonderful God should be. Of course, I gave her my usual advice, which is you can only love your God, and you need to know what that is. And it transpired after not too much conversation that really she wants God to be a friend. And the run of the meetings we were at certainly mentioned a similar thing, the obvious, that Jesus says, I've not called you servants or slaves, I've called you friend. This is to his followers, because I've told you everything that's important that I know of God. I've kept nothing from you. I'm not treating you as some inferior being, you see. I'm treating you as my equal, my friend. Do you see we just care for our friends. We feel if they have a need, and our great desire and love is to meet that need. Oh my goodness. When you feel like this, you're the right spirit, believe me. You're a child of God, and you may not be able to help. That's not the point. You may have to turn to trusting in our Heavenly Father to do those things that you just can't see how to do, but you so want for your friend. Do you see? This touches on perhaps your view of the love of God. And it's mine too. And of course, you're such wonderful company now for any spirit that needs help, that wants help, or just longs for such goodness as you are. The company of your lovely spirit. So perhaps this is what you value in your God. And I personally, Marshall, hope this is so. And trust this is so. Because that's what I see as the greatest blessing for you. Perhaps you see something different as your greatest blessing. And I am concerned, if you like, I worry that this might not be a great blessing to you. And I want to rescue my friend, you. You say, well, you don't even know me. Yeah, but the potential's there, you see. If I came across you like I came across people I didn't know before over this past weekend of a sort of retreat place we were at in Taupo, I would like to have rescued them, wouldn't I? Because I come with this potential. This is the spirit that I am, that I identify with, that I actually rejoice in being. And you need to be the spirit that you rejoice in being. Perhaps it's not this sort of interpersonal thing. Perhaps it's something very material like career or pursuit of wealth or something. Okay, if that's really what you value still, then go for it. It will teach you. The path that it will project you on will teach you, and as I understand it, it will teach you of the futility of such. And you'll say, oh, what am I doing? I value something else. I need friendship. I need company of angels. What do I mean by angels? Oh, probably those that help others in a wonderful way. That's what I value, after all. And your spirit will therefore, you see, have been refined by your purpose. Your purpose was to make cash, per se. Make a fortune as early as you can. Have a big house, nice car, and all of the goodies of life that you want. Or perhaps it was something else. Perhaps it was sexual or gluttonous. But okay, if that's really what's dominating you, your desire, then and you should follow it. It's going to be a rocky road, as I see it, but you won't be happy until this desire is burnt out through experience. Unless, of course, you can listen to reason. You know, don't do this, love. It'll bring you ruin and unhappiness. It won't be a good life. You need friends, you need lovely people around you that are good and kind. No, I want wealth and fame and... Oh, goodness. Well, I'll be here for you, love, with open arms if you need to, if you need rescue. Bless you. Do you see, we let them go. We don't want to let them go. But if we hold them against their desires, they'll not love what we love. Not yet. They're our children, but we've got to let them play with the wrong people, and it didn't bring you happiness, did it, though? No. Come back to Mum. Come back to your friend. We'll see if we can put you right. Now, tuck you up, go to sleep. New day in the morning. Bless you, love. Do you see, we may, when things go wrong, we'll want to retreat back to loving kindness. And when things go terribly wrong, you know, my experience of the last 10 years have been a wife that just went off me in actually a violent way, but worse than that, a hatred way. And the contrast was devastating. And what did I do? I sought refuge again in God, didn't I? Help me, Father. I know you do. I'm going to love you. I return to you, Lord. I don't know quite how I've got it wrong, but I turn to you and trust you and love you. And I thank you for this bad experience as I feel it and understand it. And I take it that you've allowed it to love me and to bring me closer into your loving care. So I thank you for it, Lord. I thank you for this difficulty. Amazingly, I'm laying there instead of in the pit of despair, taking hold of thanks to you for the despair, for the problem, returning in absolute resolution to you. Do you see, I'd put my faith and trust, hadn't I, in someone else. Sure, they were loving me. But really I should have still put God first. And perhaps I didn't. Perhaps I put them first. And they're mortal, and they're a child like I am. They couldn't bring in the goods. Only God can. Does that mean I shouldn't have loved them? No. Of course I should have loved them. But I should have always realized that my security was not in them, but in God. No matter how much they say, love you, darling, love you always, I'll never leave you. It's not God able to say that. They're children like I am. And really our safety and security is in God. Don't get me wrong, we so appreciate their intention as lovely children, and it's a joy to play with them in life. But when they don't come up to the mark, don't hate them for it, of course. Don't seek revenge. Just realize, like you, they're not adults yet. If they were, and if you were, you would be in heaven, not here on earth. So, we get things in perspective, that our devotion is to be to God. Wonderful purpose, yes. But as regards persons, our devotion is to God. Does that mean we can't love others? No, it's on the contrary. we love them the more, because we now love them in the assurance of God, from the perspective of God, because God is our life, our fullness, and we love and care for those around us as part of God's love. Does that mean marrying or not marrying? I'm not sure, and perhaps you need experience more of an absolutely wonderful relationship with another child on earth, by which I mean, of course, another soul, and you might marry again, or for the first time, or you may not, but you will love those around you. Love and care with an eye, so to speak, a consciousness of what God's love and care really is of them. So you do let them go when they need to go the wrong way, as you understand it. And God's letting them go the wrong way, as he understands it. But in both cases, we're letting them go the wrong way, but always ready to help, to bless. And we mean really bless, which isn't necessarily what they're asking for. It might be very much not to give them what they're asking for, because that would be so harmful to them, as you understand it. And you can only do things as you understand it, but you can improve your understanding by greater devotion to what you understand to be the loveliness of God. And so you become, in verbal terms, God's right-hand person. Your presence in the situation is a part of God's presence. You're in harmony with what he is doing, which is not necessarily quite in harmony with what the people around you are doing. And you try not to impose on them in a way that makes them hostile, but you do want to help, be a blessing. And you are a blessing where such opportunities truly present themselves. And where they don't, well, you don't force the issue. Because you hold an incredible trust in God, Master of all. It's not our battle. It's not anyone's battle. It's God's loving purpose, and we're part of his loving kindness, and his peace and his joy, and we hold this ever, not just for our own benefit, but as loving example to them that they can always turn to when they get desperate about the goodness of God that they've turned from. Not knowingly, or perhaps knowingly sometimes. We wait for them. We don't do nothing. We continue caring for all around us. And God may lead you in paths that are far from this person that was once wonderful to you. We have the assurance of God. In the fullness of time, we trust he does all things, not only well, but utterly competently. For he's God, infinitely more capable than his children. But we are his children, and our spirit is of him, and that's what's lovely. He looks at us and he sees himself in a childlike form and loves us, because he's a wonderful parent. I'm saying he, you may be saying she, or you may just be thinking of neither. Your friend, you don't use a pronoun. Okay. We do have a neutral pronoun, it's it, but that didn't sound very friendly at all, referring to God as it. And I don't like the word God, it sounds impersonal, and it's got all the connotations that might not be good, depending on your experience. So it's our dearest friend, our close and eternal, everlasting, wonderful friend. So I am shifting. I know the Jesus story emphasizes God as Father, as Abba, Dad, friendly Dad, wonderful Dad. And that may be perfect for you, that view. Good. But perhaps you need something else. Perhaps like my friend over the weekend, you need to see your God as wonderful friend. Friend forever. Everlasting. Wonderful friend with all the features that you give to your God, which probably includes goodness, kindness, ability and blessing, wonderfulness, just wonderfulness. May we call you dearest friend. Dearest friend, thank you. Thank you for all your love and kindness, all your presence, your wonderful spirit, and that you dwell in us. Oh, you are so welcome here. Thank you, friend. Friend of a friend. Thank you, friend. So I may refer to God as friend. I may at times drop into dearest Dad, or Heavenly Father, or Mum. That's less likely from my experience, but it shouldn't be, because my childhood relationship was loving Mum, absolutely. Not Dad. I was very worried about Dad. Very troubled. But, yeah, and perhaps often I might refer to God as dearest friend. And, well, depends how it takes me. Perhaps each is right at times. So perhaps I've got 3 names for God. Dad, Mum, friend. Could be close to that, I'm not sure. I'll find out in the fullness of time, won't I? Thank you, Dad. Thank you, dearest friend.